Rebels Manifesto by Sean McDowell. We're in chapter 14 on racial tension. There's a lot I can say in regard to this chapter, but I think I'm going to start with what we can do. I'm going to go to the end of the chapter as an application thing, just right off the bat, because I think if you hear anything from me in regard to how to deal with this topic, these are great guidelines. There's 3 of them that Sean gives. Build relationships with people of different ethnicities, root out racism in your own heart, and be a good listener. There's not a whole lot of elaboration I need to do on this. Those are pretty straight up, and I think they're important guidelines and important steps that you can take no matter who you are, whether you're a white person or you're a black person or you're a mix of anything out there. You know, in Genesis chapter 1, it talks about God creating people, and he created men and women, and he did that, he created them in the image of God. That creativity transcends everything. Anything in regard to ethnicity or race, not that these are constructs, these are important ways that we kind of find our identity, whatever. They're not to be dismissed, because even in the book of Revelation it talks about every tribe, tongue, nation is gonna sing praises to God and honor God in the new heaven and the new earth. So there is that. But in the here and now, as we find ourselves in the places that we find ourselves, for me, I'm a white guy and I live in America. Now my background is I'm half Polish. My ancestors came from Poland at the beginning of the 20th century, back in the early 1900s. But on my dad's side, I'm a bit of a mongrel. There's a lot of things that are in there that I don't even know half of it. I've just heard from my dad back in the day that there's lots of pieces, Scandinavian roots, he even said Cherokee roots. So I'm a mishmash. And that's who I am. But that's not my identity, and that's not your identity as a follower of Christ. You are in Christ. That is who you are. You are a new creation. But we live in a world that kind of separates themselves into different camps and different ways. And I said some of that is totally understandable, and in many ways totally ordained by God. But as I think about these different steps, I want to reiterate them as I finish up this. I think it's incumbent upon us not to stay stuck in any camp, so to speak, whether it's man-made or whatever, where you find yourself born. But it's important to build relationships with people of different ethnicities. I have seen this so many times in my life, the things that I would not know about people if it wasn't for, going outside my bubble. And I think that's real important. I grew up as a teenager in Atlanta, and I used to run around with all kinds of different types of people, because I was not in an inner city context, but I was in an urban context, and so I rubbed shoulders with all kinds of people, and I had relationships with them, and I'm richer for it. root out racism in my own heart. The fact of the matter is I still kind of look at life from a certain paradigm that gets impressed upon me by my own sinfulness, or even just living in the world that I live in and the things that are reinforced, whether directly or indirectly. And it's important for us always to do a gut check. Psalm 139 talks about, psalmist is saying, search me and try my heart and know my anxious thoughts. And if there's any wickedness in me, basically root that out, Lord. And I think it's important, especially in this issue, for us to have a clean conscience and then finally be a good listener. This works for so much. So much our relational problems revolve around communication, bad communication, miscommunication, not even listening. It's important for us to listen to each other. And sometimes we assume things about people that aren't true and aren't right. And the fact of the matter is we need to slow down instead of landing on our preconceived notions or understanding and find out what people are actually saying and communicating about how they feel, who they are, what they do, what they find valuable and important. We're not people's judges. We don't have to go around doing that as we listen, but I think it helps to humble us. And I think that's a bit of what Sean is trying to communicate in this short chapter. I'm pushing it a little bit more than what he talked about, but I felt it very important to just kind of land on those steps for us to kind of integrate and keep in mind in our own lives. Hope you're doing well. We will continue our journey through Sean McDowell's Rebels Manifesto, choosing truth, real justice, and love amid the noise of today's world. Boy, don't we need that. Love y'all. Bye.